If you were to look at Britain on a map today, you would be forgiven for thinking its borders only encompass the British Isles. But if you look at the world as a whole, you will find that there are still 14 overseas territories where the British government holds power, from Gibraltar to the Falkland Islands. These are the last remaining possessions of what was once the most mighty empire in history. At the height of its power, a little over 100 years ago, the British Empire covered 1/4 of the globe's landmass and ruled almost a third of the world's population. It was the empire on which the sun never set. But how did such a small island nation become the largest and most powerful empire the world has ever seen? This is the history of the British Empire. The foundations were laid long before the state of Britain even formally existed. In the early 17th century, Queen Elizabeth I granted royal commissions to explorers like Sir Francis Drake to claim new lands. Though early attempts, like the lost colony of Roanoke, ended in tragedy, they paved the way. England began issuing royal charters to joint stock companies, specifically the East India Company in 1600. These companies weren't just traders, they were the vanguard of empire, granted monopolies to exploit resources across the globe. By the time of the Union of the Crowns under King James, the structures of crown, charter and proprietary colonies were already taking shape. Throughout the 17th century, England expanded into the Caribbean and North America. It was a brutal era, fueled by the transatlantic slave trade through the Royal African Company. Meanwhile, Scotland, feeling left behind, attempted its own expansion, famously ending in the disastrous Darien scheme. This failure pushed Scotland toward a union with England. In 1707, the Acts of Union created the Kingdom of Great Britain. Now, as a singular powerful nation, they fought a series of wars against rivals like France and Spain. By 1763, after the 7 Years' War, Britain controlled almost the entire eastern seaboard of North America and had established itself as the world's leading maritime power. However, power comes with friction. The taxation of the 13 American colonies without their consent led to the American Revolution and the birth of the United States, a major blow to the empire. But Britain simply shifted its gaze. Explorers like Captain James Cook charted the Pacific, and Australia became a new penal colony. The 19th century became Britain's imperial century. The Industrial Revolution gave Britain the technological edge to dominate global trade. In 1858, following the Sepoy Rebellion, India, the jewel in the crown, was brought under direct British rule. Through the Great Game in Central Asia and the scramble for Africa, Britain solidified its status as the world's global police force. But no empire lasts forever. The 20th century brought the catastrophic costs of 2 world wars. While Britain emerged victorious, it was left bankrupt and overstretched. The tide turned, a wind of change blew, and colonies across Asia and Africa began the long road to independence. By the 1997 handover of Hong Kong, the sun had finally set on the formal empire. Yet the legacy remains. Today, English is the most widely spoken language on earth. The Commonwealth connects nations across continents, and modern Britain itself stands as a microcosm of that history, a place where the world has come together. The empire is gone, but it left a footprint that changed the world forever.